Okay, hello friends out there in YouTube land. This is Michael Wilson Barber's little YouTube channel, and this is going to be a video on doing it at home, changing a well water filter in the garage. You can see loose is to the left, lefty loosey, and I wrote it on there with a black marker. So I don't know what size this is. Looks like about a half a gallon or maybe a quart size. I know there's sizes to these filters, but we do have a well on our property. Here is our well water tank inside the garage. We have a safety shut-off thing if needed. So anyway, to change this filter, here's the filter that I have. It is a Pentax NCP BB. So I think this is a BB size filter. O-ring that goes with it, silicone, grease to work with the O-ring. I'll show you how that works. And then the wrench thing that fits the filter. Okay, so I'll show you how this goes as we go along here. Okay friends, so the next step here was I've turned this valve off. You can see it's 90 degrees against the pipe going into where the filter is. So that valve is off, water going in. And the other valve I turned off is this one here. Water going out from where the filter is, 90 degrees against the pipe. So water is not going in and out of where this filter is. That is key. It will not work if you don't turn the water off. And then I went outside to the spigot and I ran the water just to make sure that all of the water has been drained. And now it's time to take this off the filter housing and change the filter. Okay, so this is the next step. Here's my wrench thing. I don't know what this is called, but you have to have the right size that fits around the filter housing that you have. And you can see I've got a cheap bucket right here. So water, and when I loosen this, the filter and the filter housing and extra water will mostly fall into the bucket. Although I do have a towel underneath there as needed. Okay, so can't do that. Okay, so loose to the left. So hopefully this will come loose if I put enough silicone grease on it and I didn't tighten it too tight. Let's give it a go. There we go. That's how it should go. If you tighten it too tight, or if you don't put enough silicone grease, it will not come loose easy. And this is the second wrench that I've been through because I put them on too tight before and had to hammer it with a hammer, and I ended up breaking the wrench. So you do it just by, you tighten it by feel. And I'll show you that, but anyway, it's getting to the point where I can do this by hand. I will put the wrench up here. Okay, so this is by hand. Water is going to spill out of here, as you can see. Mostly going into the bucket, not completely, but mostly. I got a towel under there that you can't see, so let it drip out. And I'm going to take this out and to the yard. I'll show you the next step. I am going to run a paper towel up here in case there's any extra silicone grease up here. Oh, there's the O-ring right there. I do not reuse these any longer. I used to, but I just found it's easier just to replace and put a new O-ring in, and it works better. So anyway, I'll show you the next step. Here's a towel down here, wipe my hands off, and I'll take this out to the yard and I'll show you that next step. Okay, so here's the filter housing, which I wiped out with paper towel. You can see it's a little bit black in there. And here is the old filter. Here's the new filter. One of these things is not like the other. Can you tell which one? Can you tell which one? So here's the old filter, new filter. This water was actually not that dirty, although it did smell bad. Although I try to change this filter about every 6 months. We have not been using the well water that much. Here's the old O-ring, by the way. Anyway, you put the new filter in here like this. You want to make sure that oh, that's the old filter. One of those things is not like the other. You want to make sure that that gasket is there on the bottom and the gasket's there on the top. And I'm going to put the O-ring on, the new O-ring, with silicone grease, and then I'll show you an image of that. Like I said, you can reuse these O-rings, but I blew one out one time and leaked water everywhere, so I just stopped doing that. You probably could use one O-ring for 2 changes. Anyway, I'm not doing that today. Okay, so the next step was putting on the O-ring. The new filter's inside. I thought you might be able to see this really well in the sun, but I've learned the hard way. Replace the O-ring every time, and I put copious amounts of the silicone grease underneath the O-ring, and then I place the O-ring in there. You kind of smush it in, and then put copious amounts of silicone grease on the top of the O-ring, and it's all ready to go back together. I'll show you that in a minute. You have to use your finger a little bit to kind of smush the grease around a little bit, but otherwise I use a lot of grease, new O-ring every time, and then I hand tighten it, and then it comes loose every time, as you saw in the previous video undoing it. You want this to be easy to undo when you're ready to change this filter. So, okay, next step. Okay, so this is the second to the last step. I got the new filter and the new O-ring here, and the silicone grease around the O-ring. So you put this in here, try to find where it is, and you go righty-tighty. You want to do this by hand and not tighten it too tight. So I usually try to stop right about it there, where the loose thing is, right in this section. Yeah, that's hand tight. So the last step is turning on the water, and you don't want it too tight or too loose. You don't want the water to leak out the edges, and that's changing this well water filter at home. Hope you liked this video. Hope it helped you on the homestead or the farm or the house, wherever you have a well. And as Bob Ross says, God bless. Goodbye. Okay, the last unofficial step was to test the well water, which I did. I hooked up the, I think it's called a silver bullet maybe, this hose And the well water worked fine. It's a pocket hose. Man, I love this thing. It was like 30 bucks or whatever, 25 bucks. But it shrinks when there's no water in it. And when you fill it up, it gets longer and it doesn't kink. So the well water's working fine. I watered the plants out here and they needed a little bit. So anyway, that's changing the well water filter at home. And we got the well water going outside our house. And hope you enjoyed this video and liked it and learned something new. Okay, if you have any questions or whatever, just message me and I'll try to answer those. Okay, bye.